Back in October 2022, it was revealed that Walmart would once again be getting retro-themed Power Rangers merchandise. Moving on from the two waves of Retro Megazords that was released in 2022, the next retro releases would be redone basic figure versions of the iconic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team. Announced as part of Wave 1 was the red, yellow, and black Ranger figures retailing at $16.99. Now, in the recent months, these figures have finally been released, are slowly kind of going on clearance as well, and the second wave, which as the time of this video has not been officially announced, has already been found overseas, consisting of green, white, blue, and pink. So the entire team is going to be available, we just don't know when the second wave is going to be officially announced. So today on Toku Topics, I have one of these to take a look at and just kind of see, is this worth it? Especially with all the other Mighty Morphin figures that are available for the 30th anniversary, as these are considered 30th anniversary products or merchandise, actually some of the first to include that logo, which we'll take a look at in the proper review of this figure. But there's so many Mighty Morphin options on the market right now, from the upcoming Mezco figures, those model kit figures that I don't know if anybody bought, there's upcoming Funko Pops that are going to be on the way for the 30th anniversary, and of course there's Hasbro's brand new Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered, taking the original Lightning Collection figures released from 2019 through 2020 that completed the original Core 6 team of Mighty Morphin, and are redoing them with upgraded paint applications, redone face scans, and a higher price. So while these are still expensive, being, $17 a piece, they are about half the price of the Lightning Collection Remastered, but they do scale with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of these in the brand new Walmart Retro Mighty Morphin figure line. So here is the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger from Wave 1 of these figures. Now black and yellow were also in this wave, but I did not pick them up because the remastered figures are a thing that are in the pipeline or are already releasing for this, so I don't feel inclined on getting all of these. However, I collect Mighty Morphin Red stuff quite a bit, so when there's any kind of new version, quote-unquote, of Mighty Morphin Red, because this isn't even a new figure for the most part, I'm going to pick it up. So I am not disappointed or regretful of buying at least one of these, especially because I got this during the Hasbro Pulse warehouse sale a couple weeks ago, so I actually paid $10 or so for this instead of the $16.99, which I know some Walmarts are clearancing these out already, and I'm sure as the year goes on they're going to probably continue to clearance them out, so you can probably find them for closer to the Dino Fury basic figure price point or something like that, but it's not terrible. In fact, if you are, I already probably mentioned this as well, bringing in the Retro Megazord packaging, as I kind of mentioned already, these are sort of a spiritual successor both in price point and also in just kind of general or overall idea. So as you can see, same height of the box, they're not the same width of the box or anything like that, but very similar kind of the gold, whatever this background is with this kind of desert or rocky, I'm assuming it's supposed to be kind of the desert the command center's in or something. I'm not exactly sure what they're going for with it, but it kind of makes this semi-cool picture if you think of the Megazord above or something like that. It, I don't know, they just kind of complement each other well. I do like that a little bit, or a lot of it actually. And then on the side it even kind of continues with the same sort of font, and obviously it's a, thinner box and stuff like that because it doesn't have a giant Megazord inside. But what's really, really nice about this packaging, and the whole thing why it's an anniversary product, is that it's the very first product that I've owned, besides the remastered, just have it as well. But it's also the first place that we actually got to ever see the Power Rangers 30th anniversary logo, which I really, really like. I think it's just a nice touch. It makes me, honestly, it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I bought this, because I'm a sucker for anniversary merchandise, and, like I said, you combine Mighty Morphin, or you combine anniversary stuff, and you combine red Mighty Morphin stuff, and yeah, it's practically a guaranteed buy for me. But on the back here, as you can see, we just have the figure. It's just a render of it with everything that you get. And it says, the Red Ranger morphs into battle with the power of the Tyrannosaurus, which, yep, that's pretty accurate. So, if you're curious if these are also going to have a VHS-style packaging like the Retro Megazords, you'd be correct. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a look at the figure. So here's the figure tray, and of course, plastic-free packaging. While the Retro Megazords had an actual just tissue paper, this is still tissue paper, but it's actually printed tissue paper this time. So this, of course, is the figure itself. And this feels like it's practically nothing, but this is his bag of accessories. So don't think this is just extra padding and throw this away or something, because there is stuff in there. I can feel the power coin and stuff like that, so just be a little careful. You do get this nice backdrop, just like the Retro Megazords had, which you could kind of if you kind of open up the cardboard, you can kind of splay it out a little bit. It's not going to stay, but they did continue it though. The VHS retroness to this, so you have Red Ranger on the little VHS label with the little helmet, Red Ranger, so I still just think it's kind of like a random thing to go with these retro packaging, but I mean, it does, like I said, it makes sense. Every time I've done a retro Megazord video, people have been like, it does make sense that they use VHS stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's still just kind of a weird, random choice I wouldn't expect. But I mean, when you're kind of trying to do these whole retro things, I kind of get it, but I'm not going into that there. We have a figure to take a look at. So obviously it comes in this gigantic tissue bag, as you can see. He's in there. He's really in there. Like, that's a lot of tissue paper for this dude. But here he is. Now we have his accessories, which I'm just going to go ahead and unravel. And here he is with all of his accessories. And I gotta say, just like with first impressions, I really like it. I really do like this figure quite a bit. Obviously, it's not like up to par with Lightning, although it does have painted boots. So, there's that. But no, honestly, like, this figure is pretty solid. Let's just kind of take a look at it real quick. So not bad. Does look really good. I know I just kind of had silence there as I looked at the figure, but like, it's good. Like, there's a little bit of that kind of bad discoloring with the joints, which we're going to bring in some of the Lightning Collection figures for comparison, but especially like on Trini's Color Swap Red, there was some really big noticeable differences between the reds used on the joints and the limbs themselves, and that's definitely present here. Now, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure if this is just a straight up mold reuse of the 2020 Beast Morphers Dino 3-pack, which had basic figures for Mighty Morphin Red, Dino Thunder Blue, and Dino Charge Pink. I have that set. I always intended on opening that set, and then I just never did. It sat around in my room for months, and then I went, you know what? It looks really nice. I'm not going to open it. But kind of just comparing pictures, so like here he is right here, and I'll try to put up a picture of the one from that set. I think they're very similar. He's got a little bit of a loose leg, as I'm noticing, as I'm just kind of holding him by one limb there. Little loose, but not too bad. It's good. If you like the Dino Fury basic figures, you pretty much know what you're getting with this, especially with articulation, because you can move the arms like that. Bend it there, you can bend it there, you can rotate it there, not at the like actual cuff, but just at the elbow joint. Head is like technically a ball joint, but you're really only going to get it to like rotate and kind of go up and down a slight bit. You kind of get like, it is a ball joint technically, but it's like difficult. You're not really supposed to do any helmet swaps or head swaps or anything like that. For anybody wondering, for Lightning Collection purposes, if you could, you can't really. The legs back and forth go out that far. This one actually does have a holster, which is unique compared to the Dino Fury ones. So we'll actually bring in, he's right off camera here. Here is a Dino Fury Red. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty much the same kind of figure, like same kind of body mold and everything like that. I'm trying to think, like, does this actually feel like it's a better quality figure? Because it is technically $6 more than this one, but that's mainly because of the accessories, the fact that it's a special line, not the kids line per se. I mean, it definitely kind of is the kids line, as these are, but like, it just kind of has more of that sort of geared towards collector feel, if that makes any kind of sense. But they are essentially the same molds if you're curious, with the articulation and everything like that, and they go good together, because of that. So I do like that a lot. But honestly, yeah, details are good. Like, you don't have any coins molded on there, but like, you don't really need to. We mentioned the boots already. He actually has a holster, which these ones never did, which technically they should, but they never did, so that's always kind of a neat feature. Overall, yeah, it's not bad. So let's go and bring in some Lightning Collection comparisons here before we take a look at the accessories. Alright, so here are the three like main Mighty Morphin Reds that Hasbro's made. Kind of. Obviously, I brought in my Selfie Series figure instead of like the actual normal Mighty Morphin Red, but it's the same figure body mold. And of course, we have Color Swap Lightning Collection Trini, which, to be honest, like, this kind of looks a little bit better to me as like a color swap Trini. It doesn't have like the same female proportions, of course. However, like, especially with the helmet, like, if you're curious, since like this is the improved Lightning Collection helmet that Trini got, that was also a metallic red, they are pretty much the same thing. They're not 100% the same thing. Like, this one I feel is a little rounder, but they are quite similar. So technically, maybe if you get this off the ball joint carefully, you might be able to swap it, but I'm not going to risk it. I don't think it's worth it to do that. So that, of course, brings us to the accessories. So, of course, being a Ride Mighty Morphin Ranger, you have to include the Power Sword. Just up in all white plastic. I'm not really sure why white plastic. You would think that maybe red would make more sense, but then again, I think all of them have white plastic weapons, so it does kind of match with everybody, but it's sculpted perfectly nice. It's kind of hard to make out the details because it is just all white plastic, but I have no problems with the way that it's sculpted. And then for some reason, you get the blade version of the Blade Blaster, which I'm not complaining because you don't often get this version of it. It's usually either blaster or holster mode. So it's kind of unique for this to be the case, but just also still kind of strange that he has the blade version, especially because the box shows you putting the blade version in the holster. And I'm like, okay, you can do that. It looks a little goofy. It's not as bad as like the blaster one is, where you have something sticking out there. You just have something sticking out there. But like, okay, if you want to do that, sure. I guess that's something. But then you get a power coin, which is actually kind of cool. It's really cheap, of course. It's not like Legacy or Lightning Collection even quality, where those are die cast and all shiny and everything. But this one does have like this holographic sticker. It's not sculpted or anything. It's just literally a sticker, so they can use the same mold 7 times. But it does say Power Rangers back there. So honestly, this feels like a McDonald's toy packing thing, to be quite honest with you, but it's just that kind of level of like good enough or silly enough to where I'm like, you know what, I like this. It's something a little different. It's the worst Power Coin version I've had so far, but that makes it special, and I don't know. I don't think it's honestly a bad thing that figure has it. It's just a neat thing. Does it bump the price up some more unnecessarily? Yeah, I'm sure. This figure definitely easily could have been in what was the $10 basic price point, which I think is now $12 if I remember correctly, but like, it probably definitely could have been that rather than the Retro Megazord $16.99 price point. And like I said, you're better off waiting for a sale on these to get it closer to that. They're not worth the full like $16.99, $17 or whatever, but it's kind of fun. We can kind of get a somewhat decent pose here. I'm really bad at posing figures, but we'll take it here. I don't know, I mean, you do have somewhat limited articulation with these, but that's not terrible. He does balance reasonably good, and like, honestly, like I said, if you can get it on sale and you don't want to spend the $35 on remastered, and you don't really care about missing out on like a Jason head sculpt or better articulation or actually painted weapons and stuff like that in all 3 versions of the Blade Blaster, if you don't really care about all the kind of extra stuff that you get with that higher price point, and you want something for the 30th anniversary that does scale with your Lightning Collection and does scale with your Dino Fury basic figure collection or anything like that, this is not a bad figure. It's a good release. Kind of pointless because of remastered, but like I said, I think there is somewhat of a market here. It's definitely significantly cheaper. Kids are probably going to like this if you want to get them something Mighty Morphin for the 30th anniversary, or you just want some kind of piece of 30th anniversary merchandise on your shelf. It's really decently good for that. And that is going to do it for a look at the brand new Walmart retro figure line. So overall, like I said in the video, not that bad of a figure. I can recommend it on clearance. I will probably not get the rest of these, although I do kind of want to get green from that second wave just to kind of see, how the Dragon Shield looks and works with the whole basic figure kind of setup and molds. But, like I said, Lightning Collection Remastered, of course, still the way I'm going to go primarily, is being a Lightning Collection completionist and collector. But this is not bad. Had to get off my Red Ranger collection. Can recommend it. It's not terrible. Here he is right here at the end. I like it decently enough. So let me know down in the comments below, did you collect any of these? Did you prefer that they would have just done a 3rd wave of Retro Megazords? I hope that maybe when the 30th anniversary is done, we can go back to the Retro Megazords, because those were really, really cool, and I really, really want more of those guys, but this is what we got for 2023, which it does make sense. But still, let me know down in the comments below, did you collect these? Are you going to collect them now that you know that all 7 are coming out whenever they decide to reveal the 2nd wave? And anything about them down in the comments below, or 30th anniversary merchandise, which Mighty Morphin figures are you going for, or are you even buying any of that stuff? There's been dozens of Mighty Morphin figures over the years, so you might already have your definitive set and don't need a new set, but it makes sense to have new options out there for fans who don't have a set and are going to want a set after Once and Always comes out in 2 weeks, or just for the 30th anniversary, or whatever it may be. So until next time, I'd love to know what you guys have to say down in the comments below, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all later. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons: Jurassic Samurai, Maggot Alchemist, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, Redstone MCPC, Comics 1017, James Darty, John Luke, Eric Berry, Tyler Bezetsky, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Pyramidas, CPT Tesla, Cross SCV, Caboose ED, Socket Monsters, and Anthony Love. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, linked in the description below.